Hi, this is Dolly again, and today we are going to talk about caregiving and the family, or a caregiver in the family context. And a song that is really close to my heart that I would like to open this with is I'll Rise Up, the Andra Day inspirational version. The first time I listened to this song, it really aroused some really nice and very mixed emotions in me, given this is a song that really related to our everyday life with my sister at home. Like, just the whole process of even getting ready and getting out of the house and just going to have fun, that really clicked with me, and I urge you to go listen to it. But anyway, speaking broadly to this caregiving topic and caregiver within the family, so how I see it is, when you start off, we start off as very uninformed individuals, and it's very unprepared, and you're just like, I did not expect this. So I remember for us, it was just a discharge from the hospital. The ambulance got us home in a very good state. But then from there onwards, it was, no one prepared us for that. No one told us it's gonna be different at the home than it was in the hospital, which we'll touch on a different episode. But then it was starting from a very unprepared way and trying to learn things in a different way, trying to identify things that work. And it was just walking blindly, not knowing where to start, where to go, what's the next step, how do you do this, what bed should we use, what should be the height of the bed. Like, very interesting things that you did not even think of when you are in hospital. And two specific topics I would really like to touch upon is how to reduce the burden and the stress as a caregiver within the family context. And secondly, I would also like to touch on how to improve your competence and your confidence as a caregiver, so that it gives you the freedom and the headspace to actually focus on other important things as well within your frame. Because honestly, caregiving is not the only hat you'll wear if you need to also be very flexible and provide also for the patient to care for. And so on the first aspect, in terms of reducing burden and stress, it's given, or it goes without saying, that this comes with a very emotional and a very highly physical drain. And one of the things that I found very helpful is just splitting the tasks, or finding ways to just divide the caregiving burden amongst the family members. So my sister Faith would honestly be the nurse, given I'm not very good at nursing duties, and I would be maybe the counselor, the person that gives my emotional support and the financial support that comes with it as well. And what that means is just being able to also bring my very best and authentic self at work, and just manage also how I'm present for my sister at home when it comes to being at home. What it means for Faith is she needs to still be productive at school, and also still care for Brenda in a way that she needs it. For my parents, it honestly means just being present and being supportive, even as we all take on the caregiver burden. And I just remember how my sister came into moved in with me. It was just very unexpected. And again, I didn't know what changes needed to be made. I was living on a second floor house without an elevator, and that meant I needed to move back to ground floor. So a lot of changes needed to be made. And for me, that was at least one of the things that I would say, just while in hospital, already start thinking of the future and start planning, and in that way start mapping out the tasks and just know and expect what will come forth. Then split the tasks based on your capabilities within the home. It takes a while for sure to get to that headspace of meeting these things with objectivity, but it really does mean a lot, and it takes you further if you just take the objective perspective to it, and then just go with the flow. Then on the second part, on how to improve your competence and your confidence as a caregiver, what this means is just how you handle issues. You just need to sometimes, no matter how hard it is, and I say this from a very caring way, from a very caring heart, is that you just need to divide split the emotions from actually the task at hand. And I know a few things that we've had to actually debate within the family on how to do them and how to divide the tasks, and you have to stop thinking emotionally all the time, because then that way you will never move forward, and it will always be taking one step ahead and 3 steps back. And one of the things that really helped me is Googling a lot. So I just go online and find out, hey, how do I move around town? How do I even get my sister out of the house? So I remember initially my sister would not get out of the house. Brenda would just say, hey, you guys go, I'm gonna be here, you'll find me here in the evening. And for me, that already meant I wouldn't be at peace wherever I was. I would be guilty even going out with my friends because I knew my sister is back at home. And one of the things I found out is just one day I just said, hey Brenda, do you want to go shopping with us? And she was like, yeah, I would actually not mind going shopping. And that was the beginning of the journey of actually getting out of the house. So we went shopping, we went to the supermarket, and she loved it. And it was actually being intentional and thinking of what is the most wheelchair accessible place we can go to that will make her feel comfortable and not like, she's leaving her shell as well. Make her feel safe and make her feel comfortable. So we started with malls, and later on went to road trips, and right now my sister can go absolutely anywhere. She's even willing to fly to take flights and go to wherever she wants to go. The other thing actually that I also realized, she never wanted to go to church initially, and of course it takes a lot of mental journey or emotional journey with a patient, being able to put yourself in their shoes and trying to think as they think, and not necessarily trying to transpose your expectations to them. It takes a lot of emotion as well, but it means a lot that you also think as the patient thinks sometimes, so that you're also in their frame and think, okay, I don't want to go to church this Sabbath, I will try and go to the church the next time. And it took us like a whole maybe 6 months before we were able to bring Brenda to church with us. And sometimes the other thing that I also found very valuable is celebrating the small wins. Anytime I see my sister doing her physio in the house, I actually sometimes just take a video and I'm like, hey, I'm proud of you, you really did your physio very well. Or anytime we're at the mall and I see her wheeling herself, like, just Dolly, let me take charge, let me just wheel myself, that's another win to celebrate. So find a way to also take stock of things that you regard as small wins, and enjoy them and live in the moment. So again, I will just bring it all together and just say it takes a lot, and it takes the whole family, so as a caregiver within the family context, to actually make it right. And just to share a few nuggets, so I was just watching this clip about US statistics, and one of the things I found is over 40 million US citizens are actually caregivers, over 40 million, and about more than 70% of that is people caring for their family members. So one way or the other, it will be you someday, or right now it is me, it will be you someday. It's just learning how to be intentional about it now, so that when the time comes, you are ready for it. And how to start preparing it for it now is to already start building a family that is very receptive, a family that cares for each other, and a family that is very strong emotionally to be able to handle such adversity. And I'll just end this episode by sharing a really, really nice book. So this book, it's a Joe Biden book. It's called Promise Me Dad, and I'll just read one really nice paragraph that really reminds me, or rather reminded me of my emotions as well. So one of the things that says here, so okay, you all know Joe Biden. His son was diagnosed with cancer, and for a whole year Joe still had to wear the same face, his political face, and still keep his front and his composure regardless of what was going on at home. And one of the things that his son told him was, give me your word that no matter what happens, you're going to be all right. And Joe gave him his word. And sometimes you also have to remind yourselves in the family context to give each other the promise that you're going to stand together and you're going to be there for each other no matter what comes. It might not necessarily be death, it might be just a disability where you need to be present as a caregiver, and you have to be intentional about it starting now. See you on the next episode, and I really hope you found this helpful. Thank you. Bye-bye.